Place your bets, you jackwagons. Brad the Big Noise Evans here on a solo mission edition of the Fade 5 podcast. On this, going to be back with me on a hashtag Tequila Thursday, but you need bets. You are thirsty for them on this Monday night affair between the the New Orleans Saints going to Cowtown to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's go ahead and hop aboard the honk plus 100 odds or greater. My favorite wager in this game is another race to 40. Let's do it. Xavier Worthy X gonna give it to you. Hopefully he'll be the first wide receiver or just receiver in this game to go to the 4-0 mark at a plus 550 juice there at BetMGM. I have hit three of these in a row. If you're always, following the always transparent, always public, and always free spreadsheet on thegamingjuice.com, I had CeeDee Lamb last night in this same category of plus 190. We cashed in on Thursday with Darnell Mooney. I hit last Monday night as well on this exact same prop. So it's been a bit of a gravy train. So let's keep on chugging down the track here with Worthy, and I think this is entirely doable in a supreme value at plus 550. So fingers and toes crossed, this sucker comes through. Now he's only averaging 3.8 targets per game this season. He's only number 64 in total air yards, but the kid runs a 4.21 40-yard dash. He's got elite speed, and with Rashee Rice out of the mix, that's 7.5 targets per game up for grabs. I think some of those are going to slide, obviously, to Worthy. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to take an opportunity or three down the field outside the numbers. Maybe he's sick and tired of people writing him off and saying, what's up with Mahomes? Where the numbers at, bro? And he's going to go out and bombard the Saints early with Xavier Worthy on a streak route down the field. Worthy is number 28 in total yak. He's number 29 in average yards of separation per target, so he's no slouch by any regard. The downside here is Marshawn Lattimore, who's been terrific at coverage, and he's probably going to get him as a primary assignment. Lattimore this season, 55.6 catch rate, 11.2 yards per reception, just a 74.2 passer rating allowed. New Orleans as a collective, numero cuatro, mi amigos, in EPA pass defense. But if he gets any pulse to Debo in coverage, Debo's allowed the third most yards to his assignments this season. He could burn him in deep. So maybe on a single play payday, we get the race to 40 yards on Xavier Worthy at a plus 550 juice there. Yeah, I'm working the shoulders because I got seduced by that juice at BetMGM. With that, bet on the board. Let's get after it with another edition of the Fade 5. All right, well, let's go ahead and double down on Xavier Worthy. Numero 5 here on the countdown today. Give me the over on longest reception, just 19.5 yards. And I felt this is a relatively soft number at a minus 115 juice, so standard juice there at BetMGM. As I mentioned with Worthy on some of the advanced analytics, not the greatest in the world, but he's got that elite speed. And you look what he has done here the last couple of games. Against the Chargers, he had a 54-yard TD reception, simple streak right down the field. I got separation, and a lot of it from his opponent. Mahomes found him and just dropped it in there. Easy pitch and catch, so it could be more of the same. He also has a 35-yarder to his name against the Baltimore Ravens. There's only 2 times he has gone for 20 or more yards on a single reception, and yeah, he's going to do some groundwork as well. It's kind of like a Jaden Reed, a poor man's type within this Kansas City offense. But again, as I mentioned, Rashee Rice being out, somebody's going to soak up a lot of those looks. Yeah, I might go to Travis Kelce. Could go to another name I'm going to mention a little bit later on in the pod. Or maybe like a Juju Smith-Schuster on occasion. Mahomes will spread the love around, but you know he is going to take those deep shots down the field. I know the mano-a-mano matchup is in the friendliest there against Marshawn Lattimore. Just burn him once, Worthy. And Mahomes is going to find you crisply and accurately. And we're connecting, baby, on this over 19.5 yards longest catch at a minus 115 juice there at BetMGM. Numero cuatro, mi amigos, here on the countdown. Give me Justin Watson over 25.5 receiving yards also at a minus 115 juice, also available there at BetMGM. This is a guy that is sure to benefit from picking up the slack of Rice being out. Again, Rice accounted for over 7 targets per game, massive target share overall. And you look at Watson, he's averaged a healthy 16.9 routes per contest with Rice on the field, 14 and a half yards per reception. So do the simple math. All we need are 2 catches. He hits the average, and we're cashing in with relative ease. He also has a 109.9 passer rating when targeted by Patrick Mahomes. Now, you look at New Orleans, sure, they're number 4 in pass EPA defense, but as I mentioned, Paulson Adebo is a gift that keeps on giving, Clark. He's allowed the 3rd most yards to his assignments this season. That's 308 specifically, as tracked by Pro Football Focus. I know Watson is playing around 50% of the snaps tonight. It could be north of 60, 65%. He's had some explosive pass plays in the past, connections there with Patrick Mahomes. So they do have a vibe, a chemistry, a rapport that's been built up over the last few years. So it seems like a really low number, easy threshold to cross. All we need, man, are 2 receptions. And cha-ching, I think we're cashing in on Justin Watson over 25 and a half receiving yards at a minus 115 juice there at BetMGM. Numero tres here on the Feed 5 Monday night edition of the Countdown. Here's one kind of off the beaten path, and it's available only at BetMGM. They have a lot of these head-to-head markets for specific players, and if you dig deep into those, you can find some extreme values. And here's one I believe has a really good shot to hit. Give me Jamaal Williams to have more rush yards than the alligator pet owner, Carson Steele, at plus 135 there at BetMGM. Yeah, I was wrong about Carson Steele. I was wrong about Kareem Hunt. I didn't think Hunt had anything left in the tank, but man, did he prove me wrong. It said, silence, big noise, silence. As Carson Steele took a back seat, of course, the ball security issues front and center for him. Last week, Steele only played 13.6% of the team snaps. You only had 2 rush attempts for 6 yards. That's it. Now, will his role be equally minimized under the primetime lights tonight? It's certainly a possibility, as Hunt looks springy, looks spry. He looked like a guy that indeed used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs and played at an all-pro level. Now, you look at New Orleans, number 10 in rush EPA defense, have been outstanding. But on a per-touch basis, they're good up over 5 yards per carry and 83.75 rush yards per game. So even though the EPA D is of high standing, you peel back the layers of the onion, and it's really kind of a so-so unit. But still, I don't think Steele's going to get enough of the workload to best one Jamaal Williams, who's playing 28.8% of the team snap share so far, who is averaging 21.8 rush yards per game, decent 2.74 yak per attempt. He's forced 5 missed tackles on his 23 rush attempts. Kansas City equally as good as the Fleur-de-Lis in terms of rush EPAD. In fact, they're a little bit higher at number 7. They're giving up just 3.12 yards per carry and 57 flat rush yards per game to the running back position. But Alvin Kamara deal with some nicks and scrapes. He's not exactly 100%. Are they going to continue to ride their Clydesdale? I mean, he's had massive opportunity shares so far this season. This could be a game where Williams gets maybe 8 to 10 carries on the ground. And if he gets that through sheer attrition, I think he bests Carson Steele in rush yards. Again, you can bet on this at a plus 135. Oh, glorious juice there at BetMGM. All right, if you want to get some more action, go to thegamingjuice.com right now and sign up for a free account. Ben Wittenstein, Nate Jacobson, cranking out all kinds of college football content. We're going to have a loaded week 7 slate upcoming in that sport. So make sure you are following when all those pieces drop about midweek. They also have the Fade 5 College Edition of the podcast that drops every Wednesday afternoon. There's going to be previewing all the stuff. They keep it nice and tidy like I do. Every episode right around 30 minutes. So bravo to you, Ben and Nate, for kicking some tail in that regard. Nate Lundy has got his free spreadsheet picks on my site. Hockey season right around the corner. I think they actually dropped the puck in a meaningful game in Europe and the Czech Republic recently. So that season's already underway. Brandon Velasquez is going to be having some content in that sport as well. I'll be cranking out college basketball content once the games get underway in November. And of course, all of my fantasy football content, ranks, fantasy flames, my sports betting picks, the free spreadsheet available at thegamingjuice.com. You can ask me some questions too, and I usually answer them in the Ask Brad section at the top of the screen in the menu on a regular and routine basis. Go to thegamingjuice.com. It's 100% free. Click, converse, and cash. ... Maybe. Numeros here on the Fade 5 Countdown. Let's get some plus money on the board. Let's go to the alt market on a name you probably weren't remotely thinking of. That is a tight end for the Saints, and he's going to earn all the baguettes, and that is one Juwan Johnson. Give me him for 25 or more receiving yards at a plus 170 juice there. Again, rolling the shoulders and get seduced by that juice. Available at DraftKings. You look at Kansas City, their biggest defensive weakness far and away is defending plus-size targets. So far this season, and it's a decent sample size, Evans, it's not bad. They've allowed the most receptions and the most yards of any defense in the league to plus-size targets, specifically 7.5 receptions per game and 91.3 yards per game. A bit of a clown show, and over the middle of the field, 5 guys at the tight end position have gone for 25 or more receiving yards against them, and I think Johnson's got a great shot of adding his name to the list. Now, he's only averaging 10.3 routes per game, but a decent 9.8 yards per reception. Week 1 is the only game in which he went over this number. He had 2 receptions for 26 yards, but since then, only 2 for 13 in totality. However, last week he did run a season-high 21 routes. So he could be a real X factor in this game. That's why I'm digging him. I'm going to maximize the matchup. And, again, kind of looking at some of those once, kind of unbelievable, didn't even know they existed. Props that are out there, peeling back those layers of the onion. Juwan Johnson, 25 or more receiving yards. Numeros here at the Fade 5 Countdown at a plus 170 juice, available at DraftKings. Numero uno here on the Monday night edition of the Fade 5 Countdown. Vroom, vroom. Peel out, Derek Carr. Be a damn Mustang and really kick up the RPM on your arm. Give me the over 208.5 pass yards for him at a minus 115 juice. Best line of the business available right now at BetMGM. The reason why I like this, and I know Derek Carr has had some subpar performances this season, but he's been over this in a couple of games already this year. And in fact, you look at Kansas City, they have given up a pair of passers in the last 3 games over the proposed number. Kansas City rather middle of the pack, and pass EPA defense at number 15 in totality. 3 quarterbacks have gone over this number. They're giving up 235 pass yards per game and 7.07 pass yards per attempt. Again, they haven't been shut down, but they haven't been overly forgiving either. So, average, I think, is the best way really to describe this Kansas City secondary. You look at Derek Carr, number 25 in air yards. Okay, that's unsightly. But number 5 in pass yards per attempt at 8.2. Number 9 in adjusted completion percentage. Number 3 in clean pocket percentage. So a guy that keeps the jersey not stained, nice and white. Number 5 as well, and catchable target rate. So a guy that certainly threading some needles and get the ball accurately to Chris Olave, hopefully to Juwan Johnson, check downs to Alvin Kamara. So no matter how the game script goes in this particular contest, I think this threshold is a little bit too low. That's why I'm taking the over. Again, vroom, vroom, peel out Derek Carr on 208.5 pass yards at a minus 115 juice there at BetMGM. But wait, there's more. It's bonus time. And let's go ahead and get to the Team Huevos Parlay play on this Monday. Simple SGP and a simple 3-legger. I constructed this at ESPN Bet. Leg numero uno. Give me Alvin Kamara 3 or more receptions. Leg numero dos. We'll take Justin Watson down to shave off the 5.5. 20 or more yards. And leg numero tres, Noah Gray, another guy that could certainly benefit from Rice's absence. The guy that's lost in the shadow of Travis Kelce at tight end, but could be more of a slot receiver in this game. I just need 2 catches from him. So Kamara, 3 or more receptions. Watson, 20 or more yards. Noah Gray, 2 or more receptions, plus 140 there at ESPN Bet. A little background on each one of these legs. You look at Kamara, 20.6 target percentage. That's numero uno at the running back position so far this season. He's run a route on 56.3% of his snaps. We know he's an across-the-board de jure, and I think he is definitely going to deliver the goods there with the 3 receptions. He's caught 85% of his passes. He's done this in 3 or 4 games. Kansas City, they haven't been too susceptible in the short field. Again, they're getting picked apart over the middle of the field by tight ends mostly. The Chiefs have given up 3 receptions per contest, the running back position. And as I mentioned before, number 15 in pass EPA defense. But Kamara, all 83 grabs, buddy, and we're cashing in on that first leg. Leg numero dos with Watson. All the reasons already laid out. Again, a 109.9 passer rating when targeted from Patrick Mahomes, and I think he's going to run 20-plus routes in this game. So, pair of receptions, and I think we're getting there at 20 or more yards, and I believe he will get exactly that, if not far more. Noah Gray, meanwhile, 2 or more receptions. He's played 52.8% of the team snaps. He is top 10 at the tight end position. Yards per route run, yards per target, yards per reception. He's caught at least 2 balls in 2 of 4 games. I think this is going to be around 12 to 15 routes in total for him. Only a pair of tight ends have done this against the Saints this year, but with all the attention that Kelce draws, if he's on the field at the same time, I think Mahomes is going to find him in between the hash marks about 10 yards out, not once, but twice. So to recap, the team huevos parlay play, SGP style, Alvin Kamara, 3 or more receptions, Justin Watson, 20 or more yards, Noah Gray, have a sunny day, 2+ receptions, plus 140 there at ESPN Bet. And one more wager, bonus time. I am going to go with Kareem Hunt. Yes, I will be a hunter-gatherer on receiving yards. I'm going to take the over on that sucker at 12.5. Again, I was terribly wrong about Hunt. I'll take my lumps. I apologize for not seeing the future. My crystal ball's in the shop. It's clearly broken. If you follow the spreadsheet, I get shit wrong all the stinking time. But you look at Kareem Hunt. 4 running backs have gone over 12.5 receiving yards against the Saints this year. In fact, they've given up 6 receptions per game and 34.5 receiving yards per game to running back position. You look at last week. Hunt is a guy that ran 13 routes. That's a healthy amount. Scored out of the backfield. He was targeted 3 times, caught 2 passes for 16 yards, and find the end zone. But a reliable, dependable, and somebody that Mahomes obviously knows the tendencies. He's got to find the soft spots. Mahomes is a willing check down quarterback. He'll find him, dump it off. This could happen on 1 catch. Could happen on 2, but I think he will have 2 grabs, and I think it's going to be north of 15 yards. All we got to get is 13 to cash on that over. Kareem Hunt, 12.5 receiving yards at a minus 115 juice. Entirely Bible. I can't believe it's not juiced up. Should be like minus 140, minus 150 there at BetMGM. All right, I am out of breath and I am out of time. I got to catch a flight to D.C. Got to be at National Harbor tonight with a live show called BetMGM Tonight with PJ Glasser sitting in for Ryan Horvat. You could stream the show on thegamingjuice.com if you want to get 4 hours of betting and fantasy content. You can do so freely. You can also listen to the show across audio stations in this fine country. Again, BetMGM Tonight. We got our poll question of the day up as well. Get your votes and cast them. Submit any write-ins, and I'm going to give you a shout-out if you do on air. Again, BetMGM Tonight, streaming on the Gaming Juice and on Odyssey stations across the USA. Drop us a rating and a review with this fine podcast, would you kindly? Also, fade or follow us on the X. I'm always giving it to you there at Noisy Huevos. Lundy is doing the same at Nate Lundy for the handsome Nate Lundy, who's still partying hard because the Broncos finally got off the schneid against the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm Brad Evans. Until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.